Hey everybody, this is Paul Ekstrom with Realty One Group Choice. Appreciate you checking out our video and our newsletter that we send out once a month and everything. So today what I want to talk about a little bit is what we call Housing Affordability Index, okay? So I hope you've heard of the Housing Affordability Index in the past, but if you haven't, I'm going to give you a quick little 101 education on the Housing Affordable Index. So it's called the HAI, Housing Affordability Index. What they consider to be an ideal housing affordability index is in the neighborhood of 100, okay, or it's right at 100. What that means is that 100% of the median income in the United States will qualify for 100% of the median sales price of the homes in the United States, okay? So 100% means exactly that 100% of the population earning the median income will qualify for 100% of the homes that are in the median price range, okay? So that's nirvana, that's great. We look at 2020 and 2021 housing affordability index was high because the people's income would qualify for more than the average sales price house because of interest being so low. Now we go back and we take a look at 2023 and 2024 when the interest rates went up, then the housing affordability index dropped below 100, meaning that 100% of the income was not qualifying for the median average price house. It's going to qualify for less than that, okay? So the fact that we're up to 100% right now, I checked with our lender, so we have Bell Banks in-house at our office, checked with him to find out some different questions that he had, and what he came back to us and talked about is that right now with Bell, if you do a 1 point buy down, you can lock in at a 6 3/8 rate. Okay, so 6% pretty much is that rate that puts us at the 100%. So we're really close to that right now. So what does that mean? You're on a 350 house, you put $3,500, buy a point down at $3,500, you're locking in at 6 3/8. Okay, that's a pretty damn good interest rate. If you're locking in at 6 3/8, okay, the best I'm predicting that we're going to see rates drop is probably down to maybe 5.5% if we're lucky. We may be at 6% for many years to come. I have worked in my business for the last 19 years as high as a 9 or 9.5% interest rate. So 6% is not going to keep your clients from being able to buy a house. So get that out of your head, right? We're at that point. It's a point to get creative and take a look at, is the house been on the market for a little while? Can we ask for some closing costs? Get 1 point as a buy down rate, and it's going to mean so much more to your buyers when they buy down that rate. It's going to help lower their payment for a long time. It may be a year or two, might be longer than that they're going to refinance. Maybe they're not going to refinance at all. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that. Rates aren't the issue. Okay, last thing I want to give a little advice on getting fence sitters off. Okay. So first of all, you need to time block for lead generation, okay? I would definitely take a look at blocking 1 hour 3 times a week. And during that period of time, let's just give an example of a fence sitter that's a buyer, okay? And you've got a search set up for them. They're actively looking at the search, reaching out to them a couple times. They're not really finding anything on the search they're ready to go take a look at, okay? Two bits of advice I'm going to give you. Number one is you need to find houses for them that's not on their search, okay? It's okay if you're finding a house that isn't something they're interested in seeing. But when you send that out to them, then they're taking a look at saying, okay, my agent is actively working for me, right? And go a little off track, okay? So maybe you're going a little bit farther out in the parameters. Maybe you're going a little smaller on the acreage or more on the acreage. Maybe you're going a little higher in the price or something like that. Maybe that pole building is really important to them, but they do want a decent house, and maybe you're finding a pole building that's got a fixer-upper, okay? Just throwing some different options out to them is going to get them to get off the fence and agree to go take a look at a house, okay? So that's the first bit of advice that I'm going to give to you. The second bit of advice I'm going to give you about getting the fence sitters off the house is, as part of your lead generation, okay, is you need to give them some, hopefully you figured out at this point what exactly are their hot buttons, and maybe their hot button is a payment, that they're a payment buyer, okay? So if you've got something you're going to send over to them, shoot it over to your loan officer first, the one that did the pre-approval for you, and say, can you figure out payments for me, just roughly P&I, payments on this property? So you're going to send that out to them. Okay. But you got to figure out what their hot buttons are, and you got to overcome those hot buttons. So your job right now is to get them off the fence and going out to look at houses, which is always tough. Okay. Now let's talk about fence sitters that are the sellers. Okay. So you give them a to-do list. They're working on the to-do list and stuff like that. They're not getting the stuff done, right? Number one is you need to set a drop dead time. Okay. You have to have everything done by April 1st. Okay. Second thing you need to do is you need to give them some referrals. Okay. Number one is, why would anybody paint? You don't want your sellers to be painting, because then you ended up with all the paint that's up on the ceiling instead of on the walls, right? They are terrible painters. So you can bring a painter in. My painter is like $2, $2.50 a square foot is what we figure. So if I've got 1,000 main foot level, he's doing it for $2,000 to $2,500. Why would you mess around trying to paint the house yourself, when somebody else can do it for $2,000 to $2,500? My painter can paint the main level in about 2 days, maybe 3 days max or so. So give them some referrals for vendors, give them a time frame to get things done, and then set up some times to do some pop ins and see how they're doing. Pat them on the back. Tell them, you're sorry that they're having to go through all this work. It's a lot of work to get a house ready and everything, but is there ways that you can make it easier for them? If they're also a seller that's looking to buy, maybe get them out and take a look at some houses that they're interested, that fit their parameters and everything. That will help give them some of that motivation to go back home and knock off another 3-4 hours of some of the work that needs to be done in their house. So anyways, that's the best advice I got. Make sure it's your time blocking, 3 1-hour time slots a week to do lead generation. Get your fence sitters off the fence is your goal. Okay. It doesn't mean sending out an email, hey, I'm just checking in to see if you got the house done yet, give me an update. And then you're pissed because they don't come back and respond back to you, because you're just like everybody else when you sent that out. You got to be coming from contribution, coming from something they haven't thought about. So make sure that you're intentional in your communication that you're doing with them. So that's my tips to get your fence sitters off the fence. Okay. Thanks everybody. Appreciate you watching my video. Have a great week.